If you really want to understand modern India, you've got to look at its railways. Seriously, there's so much more than just tracks and trains. They're like the steel threads woven right into the fabric of the nation. So, yeah, let's dive into this incredible story. Okay, first up, let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale here. Indian Railways carries 20 million passengers every single day. That's like moving the entire population of Australia daily. This isn't just a big rail network, it's one of the busiest on the entire planet. And that really brings us to the big question, right? It all kicked off with this tiny 34-kilometer line way back in 1853. So how on earth did that little colonial experiment grow into the absolute circulatory system of a subcontinent? Well, to answer that, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning, back to colonial India. Because let's be clear, the railways weren't originally built for the benefit of Indians. Nope, they were built for the profit and the power of the British Empire. I mean, before the train, India pretty much moved at the pace of a bullock cart. Transport was slow, it was totally dependent on the seasons, and it was expensive. The railway? It was a complete game changer. It basically compressed time and space, creating a single, all-weather national market for the very first time. So what was the British game plan here? Well, it really boiled down to three key things. First, the economics. It was a giant conveyor belt to get raw materials like cotton and coal out of the country and to the ports. Second, politics. It was about tightening their administrative grip. And third, military. It was the fastest way to move troops to crush any rebellions. And the way they paid for all this? Well, it was through this clever but, let's be honest, deeply exploitative system called the guarantee system. Basically, British investors were guaranteed a sweet 5% profit, paid for by Indian taxpayers no matter what. It was a no-lose situation for them and a one-way ticket for wealth to drain from India straight to Britain. But here's where the story gets really fascinating. You've got this central tension, where the very same network that was designed to control and exploit India, well, it inadvertently started connecting its people. It started creating the veins of a future nation. And the growth was just explosive. Take a look at this. We go from just over 1,000 kilometers in 1860 to 40,000 by 1900. I mean, the British were laying down tracks at a truly incredible pace, stitching together every corner of the subcontinent. But this massive expansion was a real double-edged sword. On the one hand, yeah, it connected markets and helped people move around, but on the other, it just flooded the country with cheap British goods, killing local industries, and it made that drain of wealth even worse. It's a story of connection, for sure, but also one of pretty ruthless colonial extraction. And this is maybe the biggest irony of the whole story. The trains, these tools meant to solidify British rule, they actually became a powerful weapon for the independence movement. Suddenly, you had people from different castes and regions all traveling together. And leaders like Gandhi, they used the railway network to travel the country and spread their message of freedom. Then, 1947 happens, independence, and everything changes. The railways now had to face their single greatest challenge and find a totally new purpose in a brand new nation. You can't talk about this period without talking about the tragedy of partition, and the railways were right at the heart of it, carrying millions of desperate refugees across the new borders. They were tragically known as blood trains. It was just a harrowing, brutal chapter in the railway's history. So, out of all that chaos, the new Indian government knew it had to act fast. In 1951, it did something huge. It nationalized the entire network. All those separate colonial companies were brought under one name, Indian Railways. Then, they reorganized the whole massive thing into manageable zones, which is pretty much the structure we still see today. And just like that, the entire mission of the railways flipped on its head. It wasn't an engine of empire anymore. It was now the backbone of a new republic. Its whole purpose became nation-building, hauling coal for new industries, getting food to the people, and, crucially, making travel affordable for every single citizen. But, time marches on. And after decades of hard work, that backbone started to feel, well, a little old. So let's look at how Indian Railways stared down the challenges of the late 20th century and launched its great modern transformation. The leap in technology from then to now, it's been absolutely massive. I mean, in the 90s, computerized tickets finally put an end to those nightmarish queues. Then, in the 2000s, online booking just changed everything. And by the 2010s, you start to see modern, semi-high-speed trains like the Vande Bharat Express hitting the tracks. Of course, all this progress also meant saying goodbye to a real icon, the age of the steam locomotive, the engine that had powered India for more than 100 years. It finally came to a close. And in its place came the raw power and efficiency of diesel and electric engines. Today, the big push is to get the entire network almost totally electrified. That's a huge step toward a greener, more sustainable future for the railways. And the focus today? Oh, it's all about huge, ambitious projects. We're talking dedicated freight corridors to get goods moving faster and boost the economy, a complete digital overhaul with things like GPS tracking, and of course, the big one, the dream of true high-speed rail, with projects like the bullet train. Okay, so we've talked tech, we've talked history, but at the end of the day, you have to remember that the railway in India is so much more than just a way to get from point A to point B. It carries the nation's story. I mean, think about it. In a single train car, you have people from every imaginable background, all sharing the same space. It's this great social equalizer. The station platform is like a microcosm of the entire country. It's a place where, as they say, India meets itself. It's really no wonder that it's such a central character in so many of the nation's movies and books. That really says it all, doesn't it? The railway isn't just carrying people or freight, it's carrying the living history of the nation itself. What a journey! Over 170 years in the making. From that one single 34-kilometer track to a modern network that sprawls over almost 70,000 kilometers today. So that leaves us with one final big question. As India charges ahead towards bullet trains and a digital future, what parts of this incredible legacy, its role as a uniter, an equalizer, a social lifeline, what parts are the most important to pack for the journey ahead?